We'll do it for now. Oh, so David's taking hey. Hello, Ennis. All right. They got wet.
I never get them.
You didn't manage to dodge them. Somebody was throwing water droplets out. Ah, that's the problem. I remember. You don't have to get up. You all get
Yeah. I just wondered if there was a copy anywhere.
coffee.
Oh,
A beer carrier. Come fully equipped. Yeah, no, I do, it's like an option, No, that was me going, looking up, stuff for prams. Well, how convenient, a beer carrier for a pram. It wasn't advertised as such, it was advertised as a cup, drinks full. Drinks full, but everybody knows. Oh, really? Yep, but if it's on this market. But its true purpose in life is indeed.
Oh, here,
Get more room for a map.
He takes that one.
How are you doing? Oh, yeah, these buckets won, didn't you?
Came pretty close. Came pretty close.
Hey, how you doing? Water. Yeah. When we had uncovered the Dominican, this thing was like a bloody gypsy's caravan. Loaded with all the bags and the beach and all the rest of the stuff. Right? Oh, look, a homeless man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get the AGM off and flying, we have a little presentation ceremony. The Run for Veterans conducted the other week had a little technical glitch, and they couldn't download their times at the site. So, the run organizer, Henry Rocher, who I think most of you all know, has got that sorted out, and he has some presentations to make. So, thank you.
Good.
Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I guess. Thank you for being here. We had a really good year. I'm going to let the treasurer talk more about that. but we have a few people here. You can see a lot of field police uniforms. There are more. So we got a couple of presentations today. We're going to start with fundraisers. And the deal is this. If you raise more than $250, we give you back your registration fee. We've had a few people do that. Michelle Roberts raised $866. She couldn't be here today, so we're going to mail her check. Someone who raised $496.57 was Paula Phillips. There's your registration fees back. Now, honorable mentions in this category. I'm not giving them their fees back because they didn't pay the fee. The association paid for them, so they don't get their fees back. Darren raised $703.77. Okay. Alex Brena raised $300 even. And the Lorne Scots team, who competed in the team competition, collectively raised $1,505. Now that was max. We had a team competition. I'll get to that in a moment. We'll leave that last. Starting with the 5K. Javier Shantar ran the 5K in 19 minutes and 49 seconds. And yeah, he's not here. No, not here. Bruce Carlson came in second, ran it 21 minutes and 7 seconds. Bryden Taylor ran it in 22 minutes and 33 seconds. He's 14. Okay, he's not big. Okay. Remember that name, Taylor. Okay. James Swinnerton ran it in 23 and 57. James is here. Come over here, James.
No.
Extra water bottle. The 10K. I'm not even going to try this name. Mark's not here. Ran it in 46 minutes and 24 seconds. Chancellorette Alcala ran it in 42 minutes and 25 seconds. My right-hand man for this is Darren and this gentleman. Rob?
Right.
We were able to reduce our registration fees by $20 a person this year. And the reason for that is him. Well, field police, but him, who were able to donate so much stuff to us and help us out with a number of things that we didn't have to spend money, that we've had to spend in other years. Okay. And Rob also ran it. He helped me set up all morning. He helped take stuff down afterward. He also ran the 10K in 41 minutes and 44 seconds.
It's a lot better than my 5 hours.
Yeah. Third. 42 minutes and 25 seconds.
Which is more important? Plastic bottle or the hamburger? I am for sure. I think you.
So, and the person who got the best score in the 10K, remember the name Taylor? It's Andrew Taylor, follower of the 14, right? He couldn't be here today because he's doing the Mississauga Marathon. I don't think I've ever seen a time this fast. 10K, 38 minutes and 31 seconds. He sprinted that. That's incredible. Okay. Now, for those who are not here today, we will do a presentation at the next executive meeting in June, just prior to that, to cover the ones who couldn't be here. One of the biggest changes we made, again, this is thanks to Rob, was we had pacer bikes from the field police. And that really cleared the way, made the whole running thing seem a lot quicker. Andrew's here. So this is one of our pacer bike bags. And finally, the team trophy. 5 members running 5 kilometers. Okay. So it was against the unit. Again, amazing. There were so many people out from the unit this year. It was really good. And they all ran with rucks. Now, I'm quite convinced that some of those rucks were filled with either socks or bubble wrap. I'm not quite sure. Okay. But when they do the first lap and the ruck is still really high up, there's crap all. There's nothing in that. Anyway, the winner and accepting the trophy on behalf of Peel Police is Peel Regional Police 21 Division.
All right.
There we go.
Okay. I know you have to come back next year and defend it.
Yeah, now they have to come back and defend it next year. Didn't get a team from the Regimental Association, but some of you guys can run. I can't. Yeah. But anyway, that's it for the presentations for this year. And the treasurer will cover how we did financially. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. So, congratulations to everyone who took part in the run, either running, helping out, whatever, and of course to Hank for putting it all together and making it happen.
No problem.
So thank you very much. All right. So off we go. We'll officially call the meeting to order. And we'll go from there. Ask you all to please rise for a moment of silence in memory of fallen members. Please be seated. All right. I think we all know each other pretty well. I'd like to welcome Captain Chandra and his people from 2990 Cadet Corps in Milton. Nice to see you all here today. Now, just in case anybody has something that was not on the agenda, has not been scheduled so far, does anyone have anything they wish to put on the agenda today for discussion? Once, twice? Nope. Okay. So the agenda, the usual reports and that, new business, amendments to the Constitution. Major Hale has a short presentation he'd like to make, and Colonel Hessler has a short presentation he'd like to make on behalf of organizations they're involved with. Now, we sent out the minutes of the previous AGM, both individually and as a public post. Does anyone have any comments or corrections to be put to the minutes of the previous AGM? Can I get a motion to accept the minutes? So moved by Scott Ching, seconded. Henry Versharon. Any discussion at this point? All those in favor then? Opposed? And the motion to accept the minutes passes. Right, that brings us to my remarks. And I know you're all anticipating that. That brings me. First off, big thank you to everyone who was involved in making things happen over the last year. It very much a year of change and growth as we came out of COVID and tried to get ourselves back to something normal, along with everybody else in the great wide world, and people being double, triple, quadruple, far too many had. So thank you all to everyone. Thank you for putting up with us as we tried to figure out how to make it all work with the new board. I'm very much looking forward to next year, where we'll continue to try and grow things and come up with better ideas on what to do and how to do them, and some more experience. I would like to get some more feedback from the membership. As I've said about everybody being multiple hatted, you can see by the turnout today, a lot of people's calendars overly crowded. But thank you all for attending. The feedback. It is our association. It's not mine. It's not just yours. It's ours. If the executive doesn't get feedback, other than nobody shows up, that's not really helpful on making it grow and be better. Okay, so feedback, please. And the last point I have ties back to the Run for Veterans. There is an individual take-it-home team trophy, and it seems to have gone home and never come back. So if anybody has any ideas where it might be, or you're talking to anybody who you can remember was involved in the run from previous years, please jog their memory, see if they saw it. The last place we saw it was Acton Golf and Country Club in 2021. And 3 out of the 4 guys who are in the picture holding it told me, oh, no, I have no idea where it is. And the 4th guy hasn't responded. So if anybody knows Craig Harasimchuk and you run into him in the next little while, ask him if he's got it for me, would you? And that is my opening remarks. So thank you very much again, and let's look forward to a happy and fun year to come. That brings us to the moment you've all been waiting for. Pardon? Oh, questions? Yes. You're that far already, are you, Treasurer?
Oh, no, questions for you.
Okay, who's got one now? Who's got a question? Who's got a question?
No one. No one has any questions.
Don't see any questions. Hello.
Now it's your turn. Last minute of fiddling, the numbers there, eh? Well done.
Oh. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Captain Retired Steve Hurst. I have the pleasure to be the treasurer for the Lorne Scots Regimental Association. On your seats were the budget, the statement, and then and a budget. Are there any questions on the statement you've seen? Oh, great. I'd just like to point out that, as you can see there, total revenue was $7,900, and our expenditures was $12,695. There's a little discrepancy there. So we need to work on getting some more money. How that will be determined, I'm sure the executive and the feedback from the members will help us achieve that the president was talking about. There is some big items like the reunion that we had last year that it cost us a little bit of money that makes up for that, explains some of that difference in revenue and expenditures. Are there any questions on that? And now we move on to the budget for next year. As you can see there, I've tried to keep, set the budget for some things that, and that keeps us at, expenditures of $7,500, with an expected income, hopefully, of 8,500, most of which comes from the, golf tournament, which is our big spender. So everybody come out to the golf tournament. Come and enjoy yourselves. It's a great day out. So come out to that, and, hopefully we can raise some money and continue to do good things. The last thing I want to talk about, unless there's any questions on the budget or comments.
Just one.
Yes.
The museum operating is 7,800. Does that include this year's money?
No, I'm going to talk about that. Okay. Yep. That is the, that museum operating budget is the money from the run, the veterans run from last year and the year before, when it was run by Branch 15, who kindly donated everything to us for that, for the year before. This year, the numbers are still being finally crunched, but it looks like we're in the region of over $8,500 from the veterans run this year, which is a very successful year. The association decided at an executive meeting that the funds for that, as we were talked about, would be given to the museum for their operating budget. But it was felt that we're a veterans association, it's a veterans run, that some of the monies would be put aside to assist any veterans that needed some assistance. And a percentage will be given to, has yet to be decided, a percentage will be given to the museum for their operating budget, and a percentage will be kept aside for their for any veterans that might require some assistance. The idea being that for the end of the next year, if that money hasn't been used for the veterans, that'll be rolled into the museum's operating costs. So that's the plan going forward with that kind of money. Are there any questions on that? And that's my report. Hold a vote.
Need a motion.
Treasurer's report. Hustler, seconded by Gail.
Sir, could you repeat that into the microphone so we have it recorded for a minute?
So we have the motion to accept the treasurer's report. Moved by Colonel Hustler, seconded by Major Hale. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Great. Treasurer brings us next to the honoraries report. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorary Colonel, having now been promoted up.
Yeah, good
Very
afternoon.
well.
As of the end of March, I'm now the honorary colonel of the Lorne Scots. And but if we think about, well, what is the real reason why I'm speaking to you today? It's actually because 7 years ago, Craig Heyman was appointed honorary lieutenant colonel of the Lorne Scots. Now, I think from most people in the association, when you think of Craig Heyman, you probably think really, really good golfer, and that's absolutely true. I think he's pretty much dominated the Frank Ching Memorial Tournament every year, except for I think it was 2 years ago when he blew out the tire in his car driving to the tournament, when he thought that driving through a farmer's field might make a good shortcut. It was a bad idea. But he is a very good golfer. But more importantly, he's much more than that. And he's retired now as honorary colonel, and I've stepped up. But I think if we take a moment to acknowledge what he's done for us in the regimental family. He's been a trusted advisor to 3 commanding officers of the regiment. And he's been a leader on the Senate. And in fact, he was the instigator for the expansion of the Senate to include community senators. And that's how I got involved. It's also how Paul Hale joined the Senate. And I know Laurie's on the line. That's how Laurie Duthie came into the Senate. Well, why is that important? Well, if you think about the purpose of the Senate exists to act as an advisory board for the commanding officer. It exists to support the regimental family, either through participating in events or, most importantly, fundraising. It exists to engage with the community, and it exists to preserve the history and tradition of the regiment. Bringing in community senators with a breadth of experience, combining them with the former COs of the regiment, has made the Senate more effective in carrying out each of those areas of responsibility. And the evidence can be seen in what's happened over the last year. Think about the drumhead ceremony in London, where the Senate was able to raise the funds to send 20 serving members to London to perform a ceremony in honor of our Colonel-in-Chief. And then, of course, in the fall, we had the support from the Senate for the presentation of colors and all the events of that weekend that surrounded the presentation. And you're going to see evidence again in 2 weeks, on May 11th, when we open our new museum next door. We're also going to hear shortly from Paul Hale, community senator, about a really important new initiative that the Senate is supporting in the area of mental wellness. Now, we also have the trust, and I think some people sometimes wonder, well, what's the Senate, what's the trust? Well, the trust is an independent entity. It has an independent board of trustees, but every one of those trustees is a senator. It acts hand in hand with the Senate. And again, here's something where Craig has had a tremendous impact and legacy. About 6 years ago, the Canada Revenue Agency shut down a number of regimental charities across Canada. Now, we weren't shut down because our trust had been set up in a pretty sound fashion, but there was a message there from the CRA, and Craig got the message, and he ended up working with lawyers to redraft the objects of the trust, and they were submitted to the CRA and were approved. 2 things came out of that. One, it broadened the scope of activities that the trust can support, but secondly, it enabled directed donations. And those directed donations are what helped us send serving members to London, and you're going to see also the results of that in 2 weeks' time next door when we open the museum. I want one last comment on engagement with our communities. Now, community engagement is all about awareness. And from my own perspective, it's a real privilege to, as an honorary colonel, to be able to participate in community events, represent the regiment. That's really, that's an incredible privilege, and I really enjoy it, and I treasure it. But engagement with the community is all of our responsibility. And why? Because awareness of the regiment, we can't recruit people if they're not aware of the regiment. So think about that. When we as a regimental family are involved with the community, we're raising awareness of the regiment, and we need that to sustain the regiment. Now, on May 11th, I could not think of a better opportunity to engage with the community. So let's show the mayor of Brampton, who'll be there, city councilors who are there, the MPPs who are there, how much the regimental family cares about the Lorne Scots. And beyond May 11th, I'm going to give you a pitch here. Beyond May 11th, we're going to open the museum on May 11th, but we want to keep it open. We want to continue to engage with the community by having the museum as a showcase for the unit. But to do that, we need volunteers. So what are we asking for? We're asking for 4 hours, once a month. If we get enough people stepping forward, probably only once every 2 or 3 months. 4 hours, probably most likely on a Saturday or a Sunday. You don't need to be a historian. You don't need to be a tour guide. Our museum is a self-guided tour. You just need to be enthusiastic about the Lorne Scots. And if you can answer a question, you can answer a question. If not, you can take a name, you can take an email, and Stuart will get back to them, or Rick Ruggles, or maybe even me, because I've read Rick Ruggles' book a couple times actually. And any event, we need volunteers. So step up. It's not a huge ask. By the way, if it's a slow day, we've got a great library. You're going to love it. Lots of books. We've got good Wi-Fi in there too, so you can get some work done also. Any event, it's important. It's important for the unit. It's part of how we engage with the community. Okay, I'll leave it there. Any questions for me? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Questions? Okay, that's the honoraries. Now, Colonel McInnes, sir, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. First thing I'd like to say is thank you. I'd like to say thank you to the executive as well as the whole association body. One of the joys that you get as being the COs, you get to brag when you go and talk to other COs and talk to the brigade commander, not only about the men and women that serve and all the talent that we have, but also about the strength of the association. The number of events that the Lorne Scots Association holds, it's way above what other units have. All the support that was provided to the regiment for the change of colors, thank you. It wouldn't have been such a success without everybody that's here, either on the serving executive or just members of the association, for all your support. And a thank you in advance for the museum for all the work that's been done and that will continue on past that. A lot of people ask, well, why is the association so strong? And as someone new to the regimental family, my first thing is I tell them is that it's integrated. It's not just an association of former members that are here. You can see even in the crowd here and online, you've got a number of serving members that are active participants in it. And half of our executive is made up of serving members. Now, those members aren't ordered to be on it. They are volunteering on top of all their other family, civilian work, regimental responsibilities to be active parts of it. So to everybody, I'd like to say thank you. Next slide. So state of the regiment, growth. So we saw a dip and a decline, just like every other reserve unit and the regular force coming out of COVID. What we're starting to see now is that slow growth coming up. We had 43 new recruits this last fiscal year. That's really pushing the institution's ability to get those recruits trained. That's sort of that top roof level that we can be at right now. Any more than that, and they'd be sitting there waiting for courses and not get trained. Next slide. Aside from all the exercises that we do, which is really development tools and retention pieces, our mandate and our primary task in the reserves is individual training. So this gives a snapshot over the last year of all the individual training that we did. So on top of all our administrative requirements that we have to do, our regular parades, parade rehearsals, and exercises, we've got a number of people either on course or teaching courses, either just with us or at battle school. Next slide. The big push for the individual training is to prepare the regiment to be able to support the brigade, support the division, support the army for deployment. So in the last year, we had 10 members deployed on various operations. We still have 3 members that are currently deployed. Upcoming, we've got Op Reassurance 25 and 26. That's part of the NATO block that's happening in Eastern Europe. It's all over the news. I'm sure you've heard about it. There's a big push. From 32 Brigade, we're seeing just short of 300 positions that need to be filled for that early part of 2025. You do the math on the 14 units that we've got, significant number of positions. Most of those positions are private corporal positions. So a big change of what's happening on those post-Afghanistan deployment opportunities is really senior NCOs and officer positions, very heavy on private corporals. So that's where that IT piece is, and we need to be able to sit there and train those folks, because any of the privates that are on course now, graduating co-op, can theoretically be ready to go to deploy on Operating Assurance 2025. Followed by that'll be 26-1, which is just shy of 200 positions for 32 Brigade to fill. Again, do the math. That's a significant number of positions that we'll see. We haven't seen numbers like that deployed at any one time since Afghanistan. And then after that, when we're supposed to be reconstituting, it's just deploying to other of what they've got now too. So that's where we'll see a number of our senior NCOs and officers going and supporting Op Unifier and some of the other UN deployment missions for it. So what does that mean for the unit? As the Honorary Colonel, the RSM and I talk, we're going to have large numbers deployed. We've got members coming back too. How can the serving regiment be prepared to support those members and their families while they're preparing to deploy, while they deploy, and when they come back? And it ties into what Steve was talking about earlier with that money and the thinking of veterans. I don't want to take too much away from what Paul's going to brief on too, but we're working on a multi-layered approach to be able to support both from the serving and the association, veterans now and veterans that will be here soon, as we have the a large number of deployments coming up. Arson?
No concern.
Any questions?
What's the maximum number of personnel you can have in the regiment?
Sorry?
What's the maximum number of personnel you can have in the regiment?
I think
Regiment.
we're 300.
That's the max you're allowed.
That's what our establishment is now. It's like 30 something right now. We're not close.
Oh, I know.
How are you doing with your officers' corps?
Officer Corps strong but lean for it. We've got 2 new officers that just got sworn in the last month that'll be going on course, and we've got 1 junior officer going away on phase 3 or their platoon commander course this summer.
And then the senior NCOs?
We are favored right now to have one of the strongest senior NCOs corps in the brigade, certainly in fourth div. We have more sergeants than I've ever seen in this regiment at one time, which is awesome. It really empowers us to focus on junior leader development and junior leader mentoring. But we are definitely one of the strongest senior NCO corps in the brigade.
Can you put a number on that for me?
27.
I know that. Look convincing. And how many are graded?
Sergeant is a unique rank level in that, we have young sergeants stand up. See how young he is? Look at him. We have very young sergeants. We've seen the development change. We don't have 30-year-old sergeants anymore. We're back to the 22-year-old sergeants. And that's a period of time in life where things begin to ramp up, develop, moving from school to career, beginning a family, etc. So while it is our largest rank level that we have in the regiment, it is the most fluid for employment. We have 20 sergeants that show up regularly. And are employed in the infantry company, and then a number of others that are supporting a lot of the IT that we do across the brigade.
Yeah, how many are upgraded in each of the armories now?
The senior NCOs are just the numbers of the soldiers. We're on Thursday night, we're about 60 to 80, and it varies between the 3 locations as we've got the combined Campbell Company due to our shortage on senior officers. It can vary between Brampton or Georgetown.
Is there any consideration or talk of expanding back to possibly as a company unit? If we could get a couple of the senior officers?
We talk about every couple months or so. We'd love to be able to do that, but we've got Major Prue and Captain Moss. They just were deployed and they're in that reintegration phase. They're not actively jumping back in, and we need to be cognizant of that as we're about to have large numbers of the 30 and 40 soldiers gone at a time, what we have for resources. Because you go as a Class A soldier and you go deploy, you now parked family on hold, civilian on hold, and you're doing op tempo 6, 7 days a week for 6 to 9 months. And then you come back, and there's that natural sort of slump phase that happens with that too. Because you go from doing Army full bore all the time to now you're going to be trying to make up that time for the family, time for civilian career, as well as then be motivated again to get back into that Class A routine for it. There's that natural gap where if we do have someone deployed, you don't lose them for that 6 to 12 month period. The parading regiment loses them for about 18 to 24 months or so before they're active in. And any more trying to push to get people in too soon, that's when you see people that go way too much and then they back off or they potentially get out. And that's a loss for the regiment down the line and the Army. I think that's it. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, the number slump is across the Army. I saw an online media piece the other day. The Irish Regiment were doing some weekend training. They brought a local reporter in, and their senior spokesperson was saying the regimental strength is about 60. So everybody's hurting. Part of the regimental report, in the interest of conserving some time, was to include the band. Drum Major, do you want to say anything on behalf of the pipe band?
Later on. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, you tell me when you're ready to go with it. Okay, so that's that. Right. That brings us to the cadet course. We're fortunate today to have two people very well qualified to speak about cadet course.
Yep. Queued up for social.
You got social. next.
Social, okay.
Yeah, social next.
All right. You've changed your order slightly. All right. Where is our social rep? Is out there burning burgers? All right. Who's next after social there? We can come back to social.
Well, there it was.
There you go, P&D. This is what happens when you're spread out over multiple locations. You're chasing emails. Go ahead. Yeah, I put you here.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm Drum Major Kelly, pipes and drums. So we've been pretty busy. As you see here, we've got effective strength. We've got 13 members, 3 military, 10 civilian. We've got our cadet teaching program going on right now. 6 cadets across the all the cadet corps, and still got a couple more coming in. We've got 3 adult students in the piping, I think in the piping sector, and I've got 1 drummer now. We're getting there. Our upcoming events, we've got the Remembrance Day, and also, well, actually, we have the laying up of the colors, right? First of all, May 11th. We'll hope to see everyone out. It's going to be really great. We've never seen it done before. Back to Remembrance Day, and we're going to be massed with the pipes and drums of the Peel Regional Police competition band. We had a few of them out last year, and this year we're going to have a lot more. They've been tasked to augment with us, and it's going to be a really nice show. And I think it's really important. One of the most important days for myself and the whole regiment, for all those who've passed. Also coming up in the newer year of 2026, our 81st annual Robbie Burns dinner. And hopefully we're going to get tickets out sooner than usual. We had a little late showing this year, but it was well received and everyone had a good time. Food was absolutely excellent, if anybody remembers. And it was a good time was had by all. I want to thank you very much for all those who came, and hopefully to see some new faces in the coming year. Potentially there's going to be a trip in 2025, and we'll get more details on that later on. But right now, our major concern is looking for new members. So anybody wants to come out, give us a hand, learn how to play a few instruments. We'd be glad to teach you. So thank you for all your support over the years, and God bless. Thank you. Any questions?
You given any consideration to new decals for your drum?
Yes, we have.
The only thing that will change will be the addition of the battle honors and the color of the demi line back to silver. Yes, actually, I think Scott and I were talking about that, because the original one we had on the last set of drums, I don't think they're in business anymore. I don't think they're in business anymore. The ones that did the last ones down in Oakville. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
John, would you mind repeating the question, which is for the listeners online?
Oh, the question was the drum decals, new ones with the new battle honors. It's in the process. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll be getting some new people out learning to play, so we don't have to afford to be one-man pipe band. Set of pipes under one arm and a drum on the other leg. Okay. Now, that brings us to the next on our list, and that is Colonel Adcock and the museum report.
I think the honorary colonel said it all.
Oh, good.
I find it hard to believe for some reason.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. President, and good to see everybody here, and it's good to see some of the, I believe I saw Corporal Len Kerr there. Is it Len Kerr I saw there? I did, yes. That's a face from the past, although I didn't recognize him with a beard, but anyway. And it's gray as well, so. Well, it's been a busy, long 3 years to prepare the museum for the opening on the 11th of May. If I think back when we first got refused the building over there by the folks not in charge, but who thought they were in charge, and now we decided to go to council, and the council pushed it through, and in 2021 we signed the document for the lease. Now we thought that was the end of our troubles, that oh, this is smooth sailing. Little did we know that that was only the beginning. And we certainly learned quickly that we knew nothing about designing museums. We got some from the design company, but we learned very quickly. And thanks to all of the folks on the executive that stood up, particularly the honorary colonel, who got into the battle very quickly and made sure that we got all the artifacts organized along with the curator, who was got double-hatted here as the president and the curator. We managed to put something together. But most importantly, we got somebody engaged who lit a fire under our butts, and that's Scott Ching. Without him, we would not be where we are today. He got organized, he got in touch with the city, he got them involved, we got lighting done, we got flooring done, something I dreamed of, but never thought we could accomplish, just to get all that sort of thing done. And he has been our guiding light since then. And I think we all recognize that for the folks that are working in that area. So what has happened since then? Last summer, we were at a stalemate. We thought we had everything organized, then we were told we didn't by the designers, and they kind of bailed out us anyway. But we managed to salvage that and move forward. So since then, we have been able to finish the construction of the exhibit almost to 100%. We're just about there. We've got a few more things to do there. The final design is complete. The graphics are up and installed. We have named the ancillary rooms, the Peel Library, the Halton Education Center, and Dufferin Conference Room. We've decorated them. We've got new blinds. We've got bookshelves. We got places for people to do everything they want to in there in terms of research. It's amazing what's happened. The Dufferin Conference Room is something that you've got to see on the 11th. And by the way, I would like to see all of you there on the 11th, and all of your friends there on the 11th, and see all of the regiment there on the 11th as well. So that's important because this is historic. It's something we've dreamed of for years, something that Colonel Conover asked us to do just about on his deathbed, said make sure we get a decent museum, which I think we've done. So thank God, because he was going to haunt me for the rest of my life, I'll tell you that. We are busily now, it's not complete. we've got all sorts of small detail work to be done. We've got weapons, curator to get organized and get over to the museum and get on display. Yeah, you, you're in charge of that. We've got all of that to be done in 2 weeks. We got to finish off some of the artwork. We've got to make sure that the weapons cabinets are safe. They'll pass the inspection that we're going to have next week. So that's important. We also decided that we needed somebody professional to come in and help us through the summer period. And fortunately, we have a young lady named Bronwyn Clark, who's actually a student in the Museum and Cultural Management program at Centennial College. And she just happened to need some hours to complete her field placement so she could graduate. So she's here on a volunteer basis right now, and she's impressed us so much that we have offered her summer employment as the assistant curator, and she has accepted that offer. So she'll be here through most of the summer. So throughout all of this, starting with an idea that we had 3 or 4 years ago, even, and Hank has told me it goes back longer than that, probably 8 years ago, we're to the point where we're ready to open the doors on May 11th, and a big day it is. And I'm going to save the details of that day for Scott because he's got most of the details and he'll talk to you about that. And he's got a couple of asks for you that we need to get you to help us with, okay? So are there any questions about where we are? I'm not putting any pictures up because you all have to come and see it, right? So there are no pictures and nobody's allowed next door until the 11th. And then you can walk through the door and see what you have and what we have accomplished and what we have given to you as a museum board, right? It's yours once we're complete, right? Not saying that we're going to walk out the door because we're not. We've got a lot more to do, right? So, and one of those folks that was here at the beginning in 1982 is sitting right there, Major Ruggles. He's been a great part of this as well. So, Rick, personally, thank you for all your sage advice and all your historical facts and funny little stories about people hiding in haylofts to avoid going to war. Are there any questions from the folks that are out there online, here? It's all clear what we're going to do. So I'm going to see you all on the 11th. Is that correct? Right? Nod your heads. Good. Good. So I'm going to leave now to when Scott does his report to talk and walk you through the day. So again, thank you all for what you have done for us. And we hope that you enjoy what you're going to see. So thanks very much.
All right then. Thank you, sir. I was the museum curators meeting in Toronto last week. And the Royal Regiment of Canada is just getting their museum back up and running. Far smaller than ours. It was in far worse shape, and their new site can drop into one of our rooms. And it's taken them 8 years. So it's been a fantastic project. Okay, that brings us to cadets, I believe.
Nope, community layout.
Community, okay, Scott. We'll get this figured out yet.
Well, unfortunately, when you volunteer for things, you get roped into more. The association had a opening on the executive for the government community liaison position. And since I was already liaising with the city, with the museum, they went out and I got dragged in. So from the community liaison part of it all, the big thing we have coming up is Remembrance Day. And the parade commander has asked me to remind all of you to show up for that lovely trek from the Rose Theatre down to Wellington Street. And for those that cannot make the hike, anyone in particular close to me, he has some vehicles that he needs some riders in. So there's no excuse to see the old Barber Guard, as we used to call them, back on parade. Let's get all the association out and put on a strong show for Remembrance Day. We don't have a lot more going on right now with the community. We're engaging at all times. As we get ready for deployments, the regiments can be more actively involved in the communities in general, but we are available. We have had great support from the various municipalities regarding the museum. Lots of congratulations, and can we come and visit because we can't make the 11th. So seeing that support is very good. Speaking of the 11th, we have the great opportunity to celebrate a great day here. We are having the recognition with the Trillium Fund, who have donated to the trust the money required to build the cabinets. And we'll be doing an official recognition with them at 11 o'clock on that day. At 1 o'clock, of course, will be the official ribbon cutting with the mayor and the members of council and the Senate and the whole group of people that will be there to celebrate with us. And we're going to have a lovely afternoon. Now, we're going to have a weather option and a capacity option because obviously there isn't room for 400 of us in the front steps of the museum. So we will be doing a live stream on YouTube here in the Armories. So if you're here late or you just want to stay here and enjoy a nice drink while you wait for your turn to go and visit next door, the live stream will be here in the Armory. So there's lots of room for everyone to attend. There's no excuses not to be here. When that whole day is over and we're ready to go home to bed, it's not time to go home to bed. We're going to have a good old fashioned, as the CO will say, not a pub night, pub night. We're going to have a regimental celebration, which hopefully will become an annual celebration to work towards museum operating costs. So we're going to go down to Branch 15 Legion. They've opened their doors to us, and we're going to have some great food from the lady that did the catering here in October. So we have some great pub fare. See, it's not a pub night, sir, but we have pub fare. We'll have pub pricing, and it might look like a pub because we have a pub band performing. The tickets are $40 each, but because you're all here today, you'll all receive the code, which is AGM 2024, all caps. So when you go to checkout from buying your tickets, you can save $10 a head. So it's only $30. Lots of room right now. The tickets have gone and sold very well. We do have enough room for 40 or 50 more people, so get your tickets quick. There will not be tickets available on the day of. We have to order food from the caterer. And it's not fair to have people show up at the door and say, I want to come, and there's not enough food for those that bought it. The menu is extensive. There's going to be pulled pork sliders and little beef burgers and jalapeno poppers and sweet potato fries, and it's a whole menu of pub fare. It's going to be a great night. And we have Eclectic Revival. Those who were here in 2016 know the whole band played at the old Georgetown Armories. Well, they have a duo that does a great performance. They do a lot of bars in Hamilton and Toronto. So they're going to be there for the night as well. So we're going to have great entertainment, great food. And of course, the best part is great fun with all of us. So please get your tickets soon. Ticket sales will stop next Sunday because we have to give the caterer time. So tickets are on sale for one more week. Use the code, save the $10, and sign up quick. On the community side, a big round of applause is please asked for the run coordinator, Mr. Henry Verschern. He has been in the role of community liaison for the association, for the regiment, for Branch 15. He is a tireless worker, and this whole run was his concept. He's done very well with it. He keeps building strong partnerships, and it's a great testament to his work and to the support for the regiment. And we thank him on behalf of the Regimental Association. Thank you all. Any questions? Concerns? Thoughts? Group tickets? I'll sell them on the back door if you want to come. No, just kidding. Perfect. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Who you got up next? Cadets. All right. We have Major Federico online there, do we? And Jillian, you're set to go.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to keep this very short and sweet. And although there are slides for each of the units with which I work, I'm not going to dwell so much on them as just to give a general report. For those of you who grew up in the cadet movement, I think you'd find that cadets, as you knew it, has changed quite considerably. There are a number of changes through what's called rescope, where the program has been re-examined, tried to be made more inclusive, where expectations of attendance have been slackened a little bit towards receiving the various cadet levels. There are a lot more activities being done at the regional or area level rather than being done at the local headquarters, which means that our cadets get the opportunity to work and play with other cadets a lot more than they might have done in the past. Now, sadly, the restrictions in funding this year have meant that summer training will be a little more generous than it has been. First year cadets will no longer be going on what we used to consider familiarization training. But that said, there's a lot of really good stuff going on in our cadet corps. All of our unit cadet corps continue to grow and to be very stable. I'm glad to report that the Fergus Cadet Corps outgrew the Legion and is now meeting in the gym of the local high school. So that seems to have been a very good choice for us to make. And certainly the young people who are involved are very enthusiastic, and so is the community that's supporting them. And other than that, I'll accept questions if there are any. Otherwise, cadets in our unit are alive and well.
Anyone have any questions for Julian?
Sir, did Captain
Yep.
Caratandra want to speak on your corps?
Yeah, as I said, we have Captain Tara Chandra from 2990. His people. We're from the coal faces.
Thank you.
We thought you'd get away.
I thought I'd escaped, but thank you, Major Federico, for attending our mess dinner and was our guest of honor at mess dinner last year. I'm Captain Tish Tarachandra. I'm just wanted to give a snapshot of one cadet corps. That's the Milton Army Cadets. Milton Army Cadets originally started off as a RHLI corps, and some 30 plus years ago converted over to a Lorne Scots Corps. We parade in Milton, Ontario. Our number is 2990. I believe we're one of 6 Lorne Scots Corps. The most recent corps, of course, being Fergus, which is quite a success. Now, the Milton Army Cadets unit right now, I believe my admin officer is here. We're in our low 78, 79, something like that.
Wise and parading, hovering around just at 60 or just under 60.
That's correct. So we're parading our regular parade night. We have about 60 cadets appearing. It is a very diverse community, This is my second stint as CO. Some 12, 13 years ago, we were struggling to consistently parade 30 to 32 cadets. And the Corps has more than doubled in terms of its effective strength. There are some differences between even 10 years ago and today. So it's definitely the cadet corps right now are much, how shall I say, more accessible. That's far less competitive in terms of rank to rank, appointment to appointment, but the quality of our cadets is consistently high. Motivation levels consistently high. We are recruiting from first generation Canadians, as well as some cadets whose family names are on the cenotaph, going back to the First World War. So, and that's, I would say that many of the names in our cadet corps come back to this regiment, very distinguished persons within this regiment, including sergeant majors. So I just want to make that very clear. The Milton Army Cadets is very much part of the regiment and is very, very closely aligned and tied to the regiment. This parade year alone, the pipe major came out and spoke to us about the pipes and drums program. I took a run at that 13 years ago. We just didn't have a capacity at our corps 13 years ago to build our own pipes and drums. We do now. We have the critical mass to do so. I'll be relying on the regiment to help us with that, to build that capacity. And some of our young men and women will be coming to the regiment to contribute to your pipes and drums program. In terms of our corps right now, we have 6 officer slate positions, of which 5 are occupied. 1 is vacant. I have 1 effective civilian member or civilian instructor who was a supply officer some 13 years ago. He's back as a CI. We have 1 CV who has pretty much perfect attendance for the last 4 years, and he is on the cusp of being attested. So while we have some challenges in staffing our officer corps, it is that challenge is being met. In terms of our support committee, the backbone of the unit in many ways, I do have a member of the support committee here, Ms. Rachel Nannon. The support committee is critical for all cadet corps and to ensure that we are supported and that we are able to meet our financial obligations, that we're able to recruit, and that we're able to participate in the community. We have, in terms of this one particular cadet corps, we have had 3 members of our support committee for the same 3 members for about 5 years with no turnover. This year, we have 6 members in our support committee. In fact, a 7th has recently joined, and we will have a full changeover in that committee come May. So that's our snapshot for the Milton Army Cadets. One last thing. We do have our capacity to function in the field effectively essentially exists now. With the support of community funding obtained through the support committee, we've obtained 14 tents. That's a big deal for us. We have 10 4-person Eurekas. We have 4 6-person Eurekas. I can put 64 cadets in the field without any support from anywhere further. All I need to do is draw rations, POL, and batteries, and I can function effectively in the field with the resources that I have right now, and that is without going through the regiment. I will be asking the regiment for help in terms of instructors, visitors, or any kind of assistance in terms of even decorating our LHQ. I'd like to finally thank Captain Fimio, who turned over command to me last year. He also lives across the street from me since 2004. And I do want to say that, and I don't want to beat this to death, we want to have a very, very strong relationship with the regiment. My being here for the first time essentially is a statement to that. And myself and my family who are here today we do seek to be actively involved with the museum. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes. So the regiment is strongly connected to the cadet movement. In addition to Captain Fimio, who after he stepped down from command of 2990, accepted the position of being the liaison to the then 5 corps on behalf of the regiment. We also have a very strong representation on the Army Cadet League in Ontario. Colonel Adcock has just been recently elected first vice president, which means in 2 years, he should be running the whole show. 3? I don't know. Charlene had a funny look in her eye. Major Julian Federico was also reelected to the board, and Colonel Jerry DeRoche is the league treasurer for Ontario. So there's lots of people out there.
And soon to be board member, the Armoury Colonel.
And if Colonel Adcock has his way, all of you are going to get rolled in. And the last point on that subject is, as Captain Tarashandra said, corps cannot function without support committees. It's not a huge imposition. So if you're looking for something to do in that 3.5 minutes of spare time you have a week, do consider going down and getting involved with the support committee. You have lots of jobs that need doing, lots of things that you can do, and they'd be glad to see it. And I see Paula Phillips there, who is cadet liaison with Branch 15, a former commanding officer in Georgetown, cadet corps out there, and Orangeville, and with the Air Cadets here in Brampton, nodding her head. So anyway, lots of things if you want to get involved. So Darren, we have what? Media membership and social?
Sure. Do you want to cover socials here?
I can very quickly do that if you pull that up. So social was a rebuild year, restart year, come out of COVID. And can we put things together and start doing some of the things we'd been doing pre-COVID? We did. I haven't seen the slide deck, so please have to bear with me on it. That's it. Okay. So we came back. We had the AGM. We had softball tournament. Went pretty well. I think a lot of you were there. I remember it. The usual suspects like Ollie Garceau came down and ran the barbecue. Rick Lukazic donated barbecue and all that stuff. The 557 Cadet Corps from here in the Armory donated or loaned us their baseball equipment. Andrew Harris put it all together. And we had a happy little tournament, and Jackie Dunn was able to present the trophy again, which I think I saw in the Sergeant's Mess. We then got through the summer, the golf tournament, absolute success. It's booked again this year. You can all take a wild guess at what the date is. Just in case you've forgotten, it's Labor Day, the Monday. We need raffle prizes, donations. So if you know anybody's got anything, please don't hesitate to put the bite on people and get it over to the executive and we'll take it from there. Supported the unit through things. We got to Halloween. Master Corporal Ray and a whack of volunteers from Peel Company put together a kids' Halloween party. It was a little bit of a shoehorn effort around a lot of other things, so it didn't get quite the attendance we'd hoped for, but we're working on that. More notice. Kids had fun, yeah, the ones I saw. What else do we have in social? Yes, we change of command, change of presentation of colors, not change of command. Although there was a change of command, we were invited to that. Thank you. And then just recently, we did revive the Borsfield Curling Day. Again, that was very short notice. As far as the notice, that was a technical glitch, waiting for confirmation from over here before we posted over there. Didn't quite line up. It's booked for next year, and we will have notice of that out by the new year, sort of thing. Okay. Some other things that are coming up. Where did I put that? So the golf tourney, the baseball, softball is going to be Saturday, the 6th of July, the first Saturday in July up at Duggan Park. Teams are encouraged. And if you don't want to be on a team and you don't want to go play softball, at least show up, cheer on the people that are, and watch the people who shouldn't be playing softball anymore. Try to play softball, things like that. And the golf tourney, as I said, at Acton Golf, 2nd of September. That's Labor Day Monday. And other things as we come along. Okay? So the social, it's coming back. People are willing to put it together. We just need people to come out and support. And that's it really for social. If you've got any other ideas for things you might like to see happening in the future, like Kaylee's or things like that, bring them forward. social@lornescots.ca or anybody else on any of the executive positions, or call us in the hallway, sort of thing. So that's it for social. Okay, questions? Questions?
I'd like to bring something up.
Yes.
I'm a member of Soldier On.
Yep.
For doing something for some of the ill and injured Lorne Scots,
Okay.
including them in the social aspect of things.
Okay. Definitely an area to look into, and with Major Hale's presentation, we can fold that into that area. But definitely let me know. And we can work on that. Anybody else? Okay, over to Baron Callisar, who's going to talk about media and membership and all kinds of good stuff like that.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to cover Master Corporal Cal Severa for the membership report. He couldn't be here today. Scott, next slide, please. So I'll start one more time. I'll start by sending the Master Corporal's regrets, but he has to step down from the position, given his new position at Brigade. He just doesn't have the time that he could spend working on association stuff while he's working on his day job anymore. So he just would really like to be here and contribute. He just doesn't have the time anymore. We do have some good numbers though, and some stats to share. So we have recently made the switch from Keela to Wix, actually within the last week. While making that switch, we now have our email subscriber list is around 750. We trimmed it down a bit to get rid of people that just were either their emails were bouncing, duplicate emails, or emails from members or spam that would be obvious spam that we know that they haven't interacted with any of our emails based on what Keela was giving us. The other thing that we're going to be doing too with whoever will fill his shoes, working alongside myself, is we'll develop the SOPs so that way a lot of our communications can be automated. We just need to have the wording hashed out, and that way we can send out emails and updates to our membership, whether it's through social media or through our email mailing list. And you can interact with those emails, whether it's to get tickets or to get info on events, without actually having to talk to us or without us having to make the time for answering everyone. We're trying to simplify that. Dues are continue to be waived, and that will be touched on in our new business when we review the Constitution. And social media I'll cover in my next slide. So next slide. Any questions in particular for membership? Okay, we'll touch on media. So for the last year, we've had continuous growth on all our platforms. And Scott, you can hit the next one there. So our Facebook page, our reach, we're on average reaching about 10,000 people are seeing our content that we're putting on our Facebook page. The association's Facebook actually has a wider reach than the regiment's Facebook page. I don't know why that is, because we tend to post the exact same stuff most of the time, but we have about 800 followers on our Facebook page. Our Facebook group, which is our forum online, it's great to see that there's lots of engagement from members from familiar faces, but also from some people outside the core of the regimental family, but people that are looking to learn more about their family that served in the regiment, or people that are asking questions that could be directed to the museum. So it's great that everyone gets involved, whether you're commenting or posting and stuff in our group. Our Instagram has blown up, and we're now almost on par. Actually, we surpassed our Facebook page. So that's a testament that this younger generation is mostly on Instagram, and you can see that we now have 800 plus followers on our Instagram page. It's a worthwhile platform for us to be on. LinkedIn, on the other hand, we have LinkedIn, and we also post a lot of content on there, almost the similar posts that we put on Facebook. However, our followers, it's been very slow growth, and engagement has been the same 3 or 4 people that will either like or comment and engage with us on LinkedIn. If you do have a LinkedIn profile, please follow the Regimental Association. The cool thing is that you can actually mention your association or your affiliation to the association on your personal LinkedIn profile. So it'll show up either under volunteer experience or former experience. You can wear it proudly on your LinkedIn profile. Our website, as I mentioned, we've moved from Keela, we moved from WordPress, from Event Create, from all these different plugins associated with the website, being on WordPress, where we have been for the last, before I took the position. It's a great platform because it's free. However, there's just one platform to do the website, another platform to do the emails, another platform for images, this, it goes on. So it's quite a lot for one person to manage, or even for one small team to manage. We found the solution that actually happens to cover all in one with Wix. Wix's platform will take care of our CRM, which is our contacts list. So that wipes off Keela. It takes care of the email marketing. So that takes off features of Keela or our former MailChimp account. We can have the store, which means we can now give the kit shop the ability to handle online orders with shipping. So you can order items from the kit shop and also pay for your shipping right then and there. And now next door, I'd be able to print the shipping label, pack it, and send it to you anywhere in Canada, the States. Maybe we can even look at doing something international if people, our friends in London, want to get something. Events. Wix also includes events, so we can sell tickets to events, or we can share a calendar with our event list. You could subscribe to the calendar or just save a reminder right from our new website. This eliminates Event Create, which we recently subscribed to for the reunion weekend, which had a significant cost to it. and it was very bare bones. Now we are more in control, and we can keep this all under one umbrella, so it's one app to manage all of the above. The blog, which will be our articles that we post, but we're also going to kind of use the blog in a way to archive our museum gallery or our museum pages, so that way you can actually learn more about our history, or we can have it even correspond to gallery items in the physical museum. We will be having QR codes where you can scan an item in the museum, and it'll take you to a page on the website where there'll be a video telling you more, or some photos. Whatever you couldn't really fit into the small board on the museum, there'll be more for you to see from the museum on our new website. All of this is going to cost us less than half the price of what we've been paying for Keela and Event Create and the other apps. It's going to be half of the work for myself because it's all done in one place. And the best part about this is it's got an easy learning curve. So I'm able to train whoever else is interested in helping me, or whoever might be interested in learning more about it. So that way we can have more hands to keep things getting ready faster. And maybe I can work on some of the other stuff I have to get done. This QR code here, right here, this will take you to our social media. So if you got your phone on you, please feel free to give it a quick scan and follow us on social media. Engage with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and just check out our links. It'd be great to see you comment or even share some of your own past. If you've got a photo that was a memory and you'd like to share it in our Facebook group, I'm sure others would like to see that. Are there any questions for media? Sir.
On that money that you're saving, you might want to invest in opera glasses for your microprint.
Yeah, we could do that, or I can send you a copy of the PowerPoint once we're done, sir. Okay.
Extra large next.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
How will you get set up in new business? Constitution and then, or presentations in Constitution?
We haven't set up the Constitution first, sir.
Okay.
Next slide.
Colonel DeRoche.
Permission.
Denied. Can't show up on time, you can't get in. All right then. We've been at this for just over an hour, so does anyone want to take a short break? Get up, stretch, hit the washroom, anything like that? Or do you want to bash on? I'm taking the rise as we want to break. Take 10.
Yeah, no problem. But maybe we can connect this week if there's enough to talk to. I'll come back and chat Tuesday morning just for that.
You saw my email.
No idea,
Yeah. There is lots of food too, if you want to go grab something.
And for the folks joining us online, we'll be back at 13:30.
Okay, Dad?
Did fine. I think we blended together very nicely. Very good. Yeah.
I did not.
No.
You know, so it's a lot of. That's my husband. My husband going to treat it as both of them. No, that's my. That's right. So. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so everybody here in Brampton, Well, the last one.
What do you do?
I've basically been living there 7 days a week for the last 2 months. Trying to squeeze in a little bit of work here and there.
I just realized that 2 more years. Yours. Yours too. Even yours.
Yeah, Phil was right.
Yeah, the third.
I joined. I would just.
No, I was.
I was around. I was moving. Yeah, I was on my John, see the John. Okay. What you doing? You? Oh, yeah.
Bill Bando was our support, you know. Gary, you.
Yeah. Okay, that's what.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah. Yeah, because I remember there was a picture on Facebook of us all at the front steps.
Yeah.
That was 80. Val was well, with the 2 steps. That still was like the third. No idea, I haven't heard from them. Okay, Stu, let's go. I know, but you said 1:30. Yes. You don't push Stu, it is gonna be over.
I didn't. Why?
That's too funny. Yeah. Every endorsement we are tapping into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because apparently you get an email you can't. So you're yeah. And that's oh, okay. I'd like to go to this one. The regular ticket price was inactive. So they can provide that can be one something. So like yeah. Yeah, so it should be working. Surprised that those are trying to reach out. Very schedule is $40. Adam South. See how busy here.
Good enough.
As long as they increase the.
I've already mentioned it and they're all in agreement.
And
We gotta
the
figure out.
CDS is
Uncle Richard, you know, like,
Hey.
Okay, everybody all good? Mhm.
Let them have a break.
Like herd and cast.
Yeah.
And then
All right, anybody?
Which is only, yeah, that far, the tapes. He said everything he gets. They've been there and seen that place operates. Great being a very iffy word.
All right, let's pass on. All right, then, next, we have old business. Which old business, which having looked at last year's minutes, I didn't see anything coming forward. That would be Ross. All right, does anybody have anything under old business they'd wanted to bring up? Hasn't been resolved to your satisfaction? No? On to new business. Unless there's a question from online. All right, new business. As you may have seen in the messages sent out online and to you individually by email, one thing that we wanted to do was bring our constitution and bylaws up to date. It was written, they were written in the early 70s when the association was founded, and they are somewhat out of date for a variety of reasons. So what we want to do, and you were trapped in a playpen. Now, what we wanted to do with amending the Constitution and bylaws was to simplify things like membership and a number of policies and procedures that were either not being observed or have been morphed into things entirely different than what was laid down. And that was sent out in the notice. Did you see that at some point, whether you read it or not? But you did see it.
We saw it.
Excellent. Okay, so in order to have some discussion, can I get a motion from the floor to accept as sent out? Scott Ching, seconded by Rick. I saw your hand up. Rick Ruggles. Does anyone have any questions? Robin?
Yeah, I skimmed through them because.
Yes.
One of the things I noticed is that you were changing the ex officio thing.
Yes.
Now, in the definitions, ex officio means lost it. However, and maybe it was because I skipped it, maybe it's somewhere else. But nowhere in I found where you actually said this group were the ex officio. And also what I noticed was is you ex officio have a vote.
Yeah.
It's actually spelled out.
Yes, we did separate. First thing we did was we separated the composition of the executive from what it was to move ex officio, one column, serving, non-serving, etc. Just tidy that up a little bit so there was no back and forth, who's in, who's out, who's what. Yeah.
There is a list of them.
And there is a list.
There's a list of
It's
the,
the list, but it doesn't really, the way I read it, doesn't really say this stuff is the ex officio. List the honorary colonel, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But it doesn't say these are ex officio.
Yeah, that's composition of the board. Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
fine.
tell you that you have a voter who don't have a vote on the executive. So
it does.
that probably
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mhm.
So Robin, one of the changes was to clarify that only voted members of the executive, elected members of the executive vote on the board of directors. The ex officio members of the board of directors do not vote. So that is one of the changes that is incorporated in this update.
Yeah, so it was composition of the board and we separated it into three groups, the executive team, which is president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. The remainder of the board, which is membership and the other committee positions, and then the ex officio group, CO, honorees, so on.
Yeah, it's basically CO, honorary, RSM.
Yeah, honorary colonels, CO, RSM, rep from the pipe band, and the past president, who in the scheme of things has not been showing up to anything the last many years.
So the bottom line is that elected members vote, non-elected members don't.
That's the fundamental.
Yeah.
It's a split.
Yeah. Okay, that clear it up? Okay. Any other questions? There are no questions? Any questions from online? Don't see any. No hands up. If there are no other questions, concerns, all those in favor of accepting the minutes as amended? Again, Scott? Bylaws, pardon me. Constitution and bylaws. I'll be all right. So Scott moved. Colonel Love seconded. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Passed. Thank you. Okay. That brings us to our next bit of new business, which is Major Hale. Major Hale has something he'd like to discuss with you all. And the CO touched on it before.
Next slide,
Over to
please.
you.
First off, I'm retired. I no longer go by Major. I prefer Paul. Okay, that's me. So please drop the Major stuff. What I want to do is put in a proposal to the association on a proactive support to family, peer support, mental health. It's the next slide. Why? Because as the CO said, in 2025, you're going to start deploying soldiers on a significant number on a regular basis to an area which can easily go from being quiet to being a war zone. I was in Latvia, February, March this year, supporting a NATO exercise. Basically, the Russian border to Riga is 240 kilometers. The Latvians right now are building real live obstacles on their border. It's not green slime on a map. They're real minefields, real obstacles. Okay? Big thing I want to do is create a pool of interested volunteers who've got some compassion and interest in helping others. It's also, that helps the individual stress and the family stress. When I was DCO for the Highland Fusiliers, they had soldiers deployed to Afghanistan. And we basically had a family night every 3 months, or 2 months, I should say, to deal with the families as to what they're going to do. What I found interesting was it was run by the MFRC from London. And Donna had 200 people on her list. And I said, how the hell do you have 200 people on your list? We've only got 10 soldiers. Their family support group was for anybody in the community who had family members deployed. Okay. So she had Navy people, the rest. Hey, it's the focus, yes, is the Lorne Scott, but at the same time, we have to look at the veteran community inside our own community. Every family and individual is affected differently by their tour. And I'll leave it at that. The next slide. How did this happen? In February 2015, Breen Carson died by suicide in the Toronto Fire Financial District. I mugged him out of the Patricias. We looked at what we did to fail to notice why he was struggling. At the end of it, it took 1.5 years. We produced a paper, Healthy Soldier, Healthy Veteran. An association can do almost everything the serving component it can, specifically with the exception of career development. Well, you can do some career development with post-stuff. We can't provide medical support. But the camaraderie, the leadership, physical fitness, we can help people with and give them that grounding. I ran a mental health workshop where I had Dr. Alex Heber, Chief Psychiatrist from Veteran Affairs talk, Colonel Jetley, Chief Psychiatrist for the Army, Wayne Eyre, who was Deputy Commander, Chief Military Personnel, Walt Natinchuk, who was at that time Associate Minister to VAC, and Colin Fitzgerald, who tried to commit suicide by cop. And that was about a 3-hour workshop, a lot of very good discussions. At the end of it, I was given permission to run 1 mental health workshop. I'm a bulldog. I ran 5 in the first year. Okay? I knew if I asked for 5, the answer would have been no. I'm not asking you for 5. Okay? But basically what the training was a 2-day VAC mental health first aid course, which is good for the mental health problems. And it talks a little bit about how to help people. Or you can do a consolidated 1-day mental health first aid course. That we need to sort out. The second portion is a 1-day compassionate listening course. It took me a couple of years because the VAC stuff and the training on mental health is good. What it doesn't do is teach you how to listen. Everybody's natural habit is, I know what you're thinking. Right now, I don't know what you're thinking. You might think I'm the biggest bullshitter in the world, okay? Or the best snake oil salesman. I hate that statement, okay? That hurts, that's hard, that must have been rough, okay? The other part of the compassionate listening is actually listen. And it starts off very simple with an exercise, 2 people paired up. For 5 minutes, I tell you everything about me. You don't say a word. At the end of the 5 minutes, you read back what you learned about me. And then, so it's a number of exercises like that. When someone's angry, generally it means one of their personal values have been broken. That's why they're angry. Once you realize that, they're not angry at me because I don't have a beard. They're angry because they don't have a beard or something, whatever. But it's their personal value. The aim for this group is anybody in the regiment, serving, retired, or released. And there's a difference. Those that are retired have done their 20, 30 years. Those that are released, they've been released for medical issues, discipline issues, or whatever. And family members. And what I'm specifically looking for is 20 interested people for the first workshop, which we're planning to do around October 2024. So, next slide. I'll just go back on the one for the Patricia one. We ended up training 186 people across Canada. We did 8 workshops across Canada and 1 virtual. Those people range from serving soldiers, retired, released, parents, soldiers, daughters, mothers, etc., and grandparents. We also had clergy. We had people from VAC actually take the training. We had people from the social works system. So it was a good cross selection. The thing is, it gave me a contact of 186 people across Canada. You give a better understanding of the mental health. And the big thing is, listen, don't judge. You can't say, you're wrong. You got a drinking problem. you got to go to AA. No, you can say, yeah, okay. Have you thought about going to AA? Or where do you think you can go to get help? Don't judge. We have a habit. I can't stress that enough. You don't know what that person went through. One of the ones that I've heard that have pissed off more than one soldier, when they talked about having a friend who died in Afghanistan, someone said, oh yeah, I know how you feel. My dog died. Sorry, there's a difference. That's actually been said. There's a difference between an animal and a human being. Yes, the animal loss to that family is traumatic, but there is a difference. That did not help the people they were talking to by saying, I understand because I know what you went through when my dog died. Well, no, that's like a good kick in the head. But it created a network across Canada, which still goes on. We helped a lot of people. And in reality, 5 people we helped were not veterans. Hold the con job on this. So what? You helped a human being who needed some help. 5 have totally disappeared off the radar screen. It bothers me, but it's not my problem. I'm not responsible for a decision that person makes, okay? And you have to learn that, not be told it, and I had to learn it. That's why now I take basically an hour a day to do some sort of physical exercise, just for my mental health break. An example, Christmas Eve 2020, I got a message from a wife about her husband who was in ICU. And so she was stressed out. It took me 4 hours, but in 4 hours, I had a safety net around her. I could not have done that in 2015. But, and I can give a whole bunch more activities like that. That's the advantage. You don't know where that network's going to go. And when you drop the pebble in the water, you don't know where the ripples are going to go. So I think that's what slide is that? Okay, so I'm looking at is to create, on the association behalf, a family and peer support committee. I'll step up chair for the first year. And then I need a co-chair who I plan to mentor and train to take over as chair in a year. And the members, cadre, 2 association members, and at least 1 female spouse. I'm very adamant about that because when I ran all the workshops for the Patricias, I noticed that a lot of times there was a husband-wife signing up. 40% of them canceled the day before we actually ran the workshop. Who has the problem? Who doesn't want to address their issues? My assessment, the husband had the problem because they're the ones who generally serve. You don't want to open up that blister pack. It takes courage to do that. And what actually happened in the 2-day workshop, the first day, everybody's pretty reserved. The second day, they're more comfortable. And I had a sergeant talk about how he failed as a father because his daughter was sexually assaulted. All I could think of is, how the hell did he not kill the guy? Okay? Because that sergeant was a very aggressive individual. He did not fail. Okay? He felt he did, but he didn't. He got more of my respect for not beating the shit out of the guy and looking after his daughter. Okay? So you get stories like that. We'll meet quarterly, but but because of that and canceling, I realized that the Patricia Association did not have a female spouse on the board of directors. And it's still a work in progress. The other charity I'm involved in, the Hamilton Galt Memorial Fund, there is a female spouse on. I know people say a spouse, but honestly, it's got to be a female one, in my point of view. Because what they experience is different from what I experience when I'm deployed. Okay? 8 deployments, 8 different experiences. Meet quarterly, and then after that, twice a year. The very first thing to do is develop terms of reference for that committee. I'll do a straw model, but they're a straw model, which I would like the committee to improve and make better and acceptable to the Lorne Scots Association and the Lorne Scots Serving Component. We'll organize the October workshop. It'll probably be 2 weekends, 2 days to 1 weekend, and 1 day the second one. And then what the aim is to have that peer support group established before the first rotation leaves, which I believe is sometime in June. So that rotation's got to be up and running for around March. Because before the troops deploy, I'm sure the CO will agree with this, there's got to be some sort of a night for the family members to come in and talk about what they're going to feel for the next couple of months. Like, I have my own little tricks, on all my deployments, after I had children, I always brought birthday cards with me. I brought anniversary cards. But some of the places, like Angola, you can't buy a birthday card in English. Okay? Yugoslavia, you couldn't buy one. Okay? Neither could you in Afghanistan. So my little tricks, I would always bring those with me. Okay? It's there. And then depending on the feedback from the first workshop, perhaps we'll do a second one in the spring of 2025. Okay? That's my spiel. Wide open for questions. Thank you.
First of all, yeah, congratulations. This is something that really needs to be done. I want to add, when you talk about network, that's really important, and it really does exist. I had former member of this register, like veteran of Afghanistan. I have taken to the emergency force because she was getting close to emergency and we were having a very difficult time. And within an hour and a half, the entire network was there, and for the network part, it's very important. They were there, and they were like reporting with people online. I'll be the first to volunteer for you. I'll do whatever I can. Most people know that when I was working, I worked with the mental health association, and I know that people like Colonel Adcock who've done the first aid, mental health first aid course. I've done it. We do it together.
I organized a course here in Georgetown.
Yeah.
Before I started this journey with the Patricians for one reason. I wanted to take the course to find out if it was worthwhile. So I actually talked with Tom Ruggle, was CEO, arranged for the armories. I actually ran the course here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For that reason.
my question then is, when you talk about the workshop coming up in October, is that for first aid, mental health first aid, and the compassionate care?
Both.
Both. Perfect.
Because the two are tied.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because you've got to learn. I'll give it a simple example. When we ran one of the very first courses, there was an individual from Winnipeg on the course. About 2 weeks afterwards, he sent me an email saying, Paul, I never thought I would use this. But he was doing an arrival assistance group at Winnipeg, and he noticed a friend get off the aircraft, and she didn't look healthy. He took the time to talk to her, found out, spent 45 minutes with her on his email, found out she'd been the only female Air Force person attached to a French Army unit and did not have a good tour. But the skills we gave him about listening and not judging, said it paid off in spades in that 45 minutes of helping her. Okay? So you never know where it's going to go. All the courses I've run, I've never turned anyone away because you never know what's going to work out. Another simple example, I got it from one of the people who did the course in Victoria. She phoned me up saying, did you know there's a Patricia member who's in really shitty mental health, is in the hospital, blah, 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 blah. Nope. He gave me his name. I passed his branch. They put the stuff in. My wife gets a little upset because I know I'm on speed dial for too many people. Okay? But I don't care. My job is to help them get someone in their vicinity who can assist them, and then I step back. Okay? So yeah, it's a passion. No offenses to senior ranks. We don't care about the chief warrant officers and the colonels and above. I care about the privates, the corporals, and the second lieutenants. Because they're the ones who see a lot of stuff and who need generally the most help and have the least coping skills. Okay. I'll give Darren a blog for this to go on there. And once I get the committee stood up, but if anybody's other than Hank willing to volunteer, grab me afterwards. We'll organize the meeting and then we'll start from there.
Are you connected to OSIS in any way?
OSIS, yes, I've had them speak at some of the workshops we did.
Does that organization needs to be broadened?
They're one of the many resources. Wounded Warriors. One of the things I learned is I put together a list of agencies, and I didn't realize until the chief psychiatrist from VAC said, "You realize when you put out that list, you validate everybody?" And I go, "Oh shit." No, I didn't. So now there's a disclaimer. And the reason I say that is one of the agencies on that list was Veterans Transition Network, or not Veterans Transition Network, Project Trauma Support. Project Trauma Support. You may or may not remember Project Trauma Support used a convicted sex offender to mentor a women's sexual assault group. Okay? So that blew up like you wouldn't believe. So the list there, I do double check. But and the disclaimers there that, I can't verify them all. There's a lot of agencies out there and you can Google them. There's one peer support agency that in Vancouver Island wanted me to support them and all the rest of it. But by digging, they were a pay-as-you-go agency. Needless to say, I didn't support them. Okay? So you've got to be careful. But that's what I learned as I did this journey. Okay? Do I have it perfect? No. Do I have it perfect? No. But I give a damn about soldiers. Psychiatrists don't like it when I say that, but I give a damn about soldiers. Okay? So it's about all my compassion, the rest are passionate about this. And I think you never know what's going to happen. It's the same thing with the veterans. What I've noticed is the majority of people who are coming out with problems right now are not from Afghanistan. They're from the 1990s.
Yeah.
When I came back I did Angola and Bosnia back to back in a year. Okay? When I came back from Bosnia, wars don't stop on a Sunday. Okay? And on both those missions, I was unarmed. There was no one to talk to. There wasn't a lot of stuff there. It's because of that. Those people are surfacing now, 25, 30 years later. Okay? The current ones, if a guy refuses to take the resources available today, he's stupid. Okay? My last tour, they did the Road to Mental Health Readiness, done by 2RCR, 8 tour. I'm pretty cynical. It was very, very well done. Very well done. On what the training and the rest of it, but they had a white talk and the social work into. And at the end, we're doing our decompression in Cyprus. So, okay, all senior officers go over here, and I go, no, shit, it's going to be death by PowerPoint. We walked in there, and the question was, what are your responsibilities? And it was all question and answer, no PowerPoint. At the end of an hour and a half, he said, yep, you're good to go, you're done. I thought that was treating the people very, very well. Okay? Thank you.
Sir, do you have a question in the chat?
Oh, do I? Yes. Yes, Andrea. Veterans can. Okay. So, okay. Yes, veterans can take the course. Okay. And the one I'm going to run with the Lorne Scots is going to be open to anybody who wants to it. Maybe I'll be surprised and we'll get 40 volunteers. That's a challenge I would love to have. Anything else, folks? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. And hopefully we do get a good turnout of people willing to get involved.
The big thing is get through that committee first.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you think back, a lot of us in the room can remember people who went away and came home and subsequently have had a lot of problems. And there was no support. It was, oh, your tour's up. Nice trip home. Good luck. Anyway, other new business is Robin Hessler, who, if you haven't already heard, is at the moment the president of the CIA. It's not the American thing.
Yeah.
It's the Canadian Infantry Association.
Yeah.
A few words you'd like to.
Thank you, Mr. President. And just to follow on Paul's, as a medical person, which I am, and also a former soldier, I can't express enough that it's great that the association is going to support what Paul's doing. And it really, really is a very, very good and unique thing. So, Paul, God bless you for what you're doing, and bless the association as well for taking this up and serving former Lorne Scots and others that are in the military or served in the military and their families in mental health. So I'm here, though, to talk about the Canadian Infantry Association and to promote it and suggest that anybody who has been, should be an infanteer join the Canadian Infantry Association. The CIA is the only national association representing all infanteers of all ranks, both serving and veterans, and those, as Paul said, that were released. We are a founding member of the Conference for Defense Associations, or the CDA, which is a very powerful lobbying group for the military, and also has a at arm's length organization, which is basically academic in nature. We sit at the table with the Armored Corps, the Artillery Corps, the Royal Canadian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, and you name it, along with some of the organizations that actually Paul mentioned in regards to serving military personnel. The thing is that the power is in numbers. And any association, as you all know, survives on its members, on its numbers. And when it's trying to deal with other organizations externally, then numbers count. And that's basic politics. Technically, we are the largest military association in Canada, but unfortunately, as Bill knows, we are right now the smallest. The association has gone through some very, very bad times, and COVID really did a number on it as well. So right now, the fact that I discovered that there is no membership list, so I started building a membership through these updates that I do, which some of you get, is that we have 82 members out of approximately 30,000 infanteers, past, present, out there. I mean, it's really, really sad. So as far as infanteers go, it's really, really hard to sit at the table and try to bring up issues. And when you've got 82 members and you're looking at the Armored Corps with a hell of a lot more than that. So as I said, the CIA went basically defunct over COVID. And it started before that. I got to be honest with you. It started before that, where the CIA went off on some interesting tangents and really pissed off the regular force, no end. And they pulled out and didn't support the CIA anymore. And it really became an officers' club. And that's not what it is. It's for all ranks. All ranks, past and present. So as I said, it worsened when COVID came along, and then the president died, and basically nothing was happening. So I had been working with the president, in fact, to do their constitution and bylaws. And because of that, I went out and reached out to some individuals that I knew who had served in the CIA in the past. And some of them are Lorne Scots, like Bill Adcock and John Rodaway and Doug Johnson. So I formed this team, which we call the revitalization team, to try and look at, should we let the CIA go into history, or should we try to save it? And we all decided that the Infantry Corps is an extremely important corps in the Army, the most important corps in the Army, and that it needed an association to back it up. So I was elected chair or interim president of the CIA to try and get us back up and running. And let me tell you, it's been a challenge, but we are proceeding and things are happening. And thanks to members of the revitalization team. So another Lorne Scott happens to be on this revitalization team, and he's sitting right over there. And thank God for him. Darren's doing all our social media stuff and doing our new website, because our website got bought up by some organization out in the Pacific somewhere, and we had to start from scratch. So knowing what Darren had done for the association here, I reached out to Darren, and Darren is doing our website, and I think he's going to do a quick demo of our website after I shut up. So he'll show you what we've done, and he's using the same platform as the association now, the Wix platform, and that was recommended to us by him to do. Now, part of the lucky things that have happened lately with the CIA is that the Colonel Commandant of the Infantry Corps, Major General Richard Blanchette, is our grand champion, and he's been extremely helpful in trying to get the CIA back up and running. In fact, I was talking to the CDS at the Conference of Defense Association conference the other a couple months ago, and I was surprised because he came up and asked me how the CIA was going. He's an infantier, of course, and so I talked to him about it, and he said that behind the scenes, he's trying to give us as much support as possible without getting himself into political hot water, which is very tentative for anybody that's serving these days. And with the other, we have some people right across the country now that are trying to rebuild the CIA as far as the branches are concerned. So we're well on our way to get back up and running. What we are not, and I want to emphasize this, we are not in competition with regimental associations. We want to augment them, we want to complement them, we want to cooperate with them. And we'll be doing more of that as we go down the road once we get the website up and running and use it as basically the core of the operations of the CIA. So what are the purposes of the CIA quickly? We are to establish a strong and credible infantry footprint throughout Canada. And right now, with what's going on in this world, we need a credible footprint for the infantry to lobby for what it needs in this country. To support the Royal Canadian Infantry Corps, or the RCIC, leadership in achieving their missions and objectives. I've managed to reestablish communications and cooperation and collaboration with the Director of Infantry, and he invites me now to their conferences. So that's a really big step forward, believe me. To preserve, promote, and commemorate the history, heritage, and traditions of the infantry in Canada. To recognize members and RCIC personal achievements. So what we want to do as far as regimental associations are concerned down the road is whenever the Lorne Scots, for example, are having some celebration or some events, we want to post that on the Canadian Infantry Association website as well to give you more exposure. To support members and their families through relevant programs and services. So things like Paul is doing and others around the country, we would promote through the website and our social media platforms once we get them reestablished. To establish and maintain relevant social media platforms and association website, talked about that. To establish liaisons with infantry regiment and affiliated associations of Canada, across Canada, and I just mentioned that. To establish liaisons and partnerships with other Army Corps and branches. The infantry does not fight alone. So we need to partner with, collaborate with, associate with the other corps. To recognize the achievements of infantry regiments, and I talked about that, to be a resource center, and to liaise with like associations through NATO. And we're starting to do that. I tried to do that in England, then I found out there is no infantry association in England. So we're going to have to talk to individual regiments. We'll probably talk to the RRF first, Bill? We'll probably do that. So I'd like to consider you all joining once we get the website up and things are in place. And we'll give you more notices about that. If anyone wants to join ahead of time, they can contact me at, we'll probably print this somewhere, at my email address, which is Lorne Scots Colonel @rogers.com. You're going to say?
president@deucimus.org.
Oh, yeah, right. I've got a new title. I forgot. Thanks, Darren. There, and that's about it for me. And I'm just going to turn it over to Darren because he just wants to show you the CIA website quickly.
Well, if you'd like to head to this link on your own device, you can take a look at it later. It's password protected. I'll share the password because we're just days away from our launch. And the password is Deucimus, all lowercase, with a capital RT. So Deucimus and then capital RT.
So are there any questions from anybody about the
I'm just
CIA?
glad to see that you don't have an acting president on there anymore, Robin. You're the president of the Infantry Association.
I guess I am. Any other any other questions?
Even if you didn't want to.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Even if I was reluctant in taking the position. Well, thank you very much for your time and yes.
What is involved in becoming a member?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. First of all, it's free. Hey, how about that? Free. However, I'll qualify that by saying that we will ask people for when they sign up for membership to give a donation. We're not telling you to give a donation. We're just going to ask. So that's the one way to get around the dues. But we're not charging dues for anything. And to be what was your question again?
What's involved in being a member?
Sign up.
Becoming a member.
Sign up. Sign up. All you have to be is, like I said, serving, past serving, discharged, whatever. I don't care, as long as you were an infantry.
Do you want to add that you also have your email newsletters, sir? So that's something signing up, you'd be subscribed to these email newsletters.
Yeah, you lucky people. if you sign up, I do a daily, almost daily, not quite. It takes me 2 hours to do it or so. A daily update on the war in Ukraine, what's going on in the Asian Pacific theater, what's going on in other countries globally, in Africa and that. I have a lot of sources, and one of my main sources is the Conference of Defense Association, which puts up an update. But I have personal friends in Ukraine, as an example, that give me inside information versus what the normal stuff that comes out is. And so it's a real mixture. I've broken up into two parts now. One is more on the theater of operation stuff, and the other is on global happenings. So that's kind of the newsletter. Thanks, Darren, for bringing that up.
Is that the thing that brings my phone at 2 a.m. in the morning?
That's right. And I do it just because of you.
So that is the You can say that we're just days away. I think we're about Wednesday is when we're looking at going public. But right now, you all have a password if you want to take a look at the website. You can also sign up as a member with that password using this RT, and then that way you'll be added to the mailing list. And as features are rolled out, it'll be updated via email.
Now, there's going to be two parts of the website. One is the public side, and the other will be the members only side. So, and just to mention, you're in the Lorne Scots are in 32 Brigade bracket Central Branch. So once we get everything all organized, one of the things you'll be asked when you sign up is which branch do you want to belong to, or which branch do you belong to? And just on that point, one of the things we decided is, like, people move around the country a lot. So you're going to be able to change branches, or you can be a member of more than one branch. It doesn't matter, but at least we'll have a record of it, and you'll be able to hook up with the particular branches, because one of the things that the website will do is allow you to look at other branches to see what they're doing, get their newsletters and all that kind of stuff. So, all right.
I'd like to say that without this Lorne Scott, there would be no infantry association, because he's taken it by the bootstraps and dragged it back up into prominence and makes it viable again. You've done that, Robin. Without you, we wouldn't be here. He's networked, and he gives out, these are fascinating bullets you send out all the time about what's going on in Ukraine, around the world, everything. Because believe it or not, I do read them, right? So
yeah. Thanks, Mr. President.
Yeah, the Infantry Association's been around for what now, almost 150 years or slightly more. This is an organization that if you care about where the infantry is, where it seems to be going, all that sort of thing, that it isn't what it used to be, this is an organization to join, because you'll go from crying in your beer to having a voice in an organization that is listened to at decision-making levels. It's well worth getting involved in. So thank you. Now, does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up under new business?
Do you want to mention May 9th?
I was going to mention that, yes. You're getting ahead of me. Okay. No one's got anything else in new business? Well, thank you for your involvement today. We have three items to finish with. One is, I want you all to give yourself a big hand, because you, as the membership of the Lorne Scots Regimental Association, have done the work necessary to receive the City of Brampton 50th Anniversary Award at the Brampton Citizens Awards. Well done, all of you. Lovely little lucite plaque or something. It's to be presented the start of next month over at the Rose Theatre in a civic presentation. Darren's the one that actually did all the writing and paperwork to make it happen, to get the award nomination in and phrase it in such a way that they bought it at the City of Brampton. But it's all of you and all the people that aren't here over the years that have had the input to make that a viable answer. Yes, we deserve it. In that note too, another former member of the regiment, Rob Walsh, is being honored for plus 35 years of service to the community at the awards. And he'll join Jerry DeRoche, who is another previous winner of that award. So well done, all of you. Okay. Next thing is a date for the next AGM. Having looked at next year's calendar, the last Sunday in April is the 27th. And we'll get this notice out now. Next year is an election year. Start thinking of why you should be running the show. And if you don't want to run the show, start making your excuses now. Oh, I'd love to, but I can't, because as opposed to waiting till the last second. Okay? Sunday, the 27th of April, 2025, and it is an election year. So if you know of anybody who might be interested in running, like membership, president, treasurer, all those sort of things, start twisting your arm now. Okay? And that leaves me with the raffle, which we will do after the adjournment. And unless anybody's got anything else they want to bring up, last chance. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting then? Robin, seconded by Steve. All those opposed? All those in favor? Stop the stampede. Okay, now over to Darren, who has got the raffle under control.
Private tartan here?
So the winning number is selected to the side of the bag. Piece of money, large sum.
Can you add 3 more tickets? Private tartan, bought them online.
Is that the winner's taped to the side of the bag, right?
Pardon me?
The winner's taped to the
Oh,
side of
yeah,
the
yeah,
bag.
exactly. Sorry, not 3 tickets. We did 30, so that's 5, that's 6 tickets. No, I'll just hold on to these. So yeah, 6 tickets. Throw it in there. And this is 1 ticket to win the whole basket. 1 lucky ticket.
It's already changed. You want the number?
Yeah.
That's a registration.
Okay, who wants to volunteer?
Yeah, the president does that.
All right, who really wants to win? At least we're keeping them all in the box this time.
All right. So the party tonight will be at this person's house. Ticket number 597-871-3. Oh, full party tonight. Okay, come on up. Let's see. All right. Okay, so pool party tonight? Sure. Okay. You can claim that basket over there on your way out.
Congratulations, Aaron. And thank you all for coming out today.
Good job, Stu.
Not too bad.
No, not too bad.
220?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Yeah, I know, which is a big deal. I mean, we
Yeah, we're about
updated our
40.
process.